Making one small change can increase your Hydra score dramatically. Alright folks, so as I said in the opener, as you saw on the screen, I'll pop it up here. Alright, yeah, huge difference here. Well, a couple of them, if you can't tell. I've got this one in edit. I'll show you exactly what's going on, but one, you see the time. The time in battle is should equate to increased damage. Not always, but typically it will. Especially, it requires you to have damage dealers in there. But it's all in one champion. One champion. Scribble, scribble, scribble. So we'll get out of this here. And we'll get into the Hydra right here. So there's my final score. This was a full auto team. Once I surpassed my last score of 33 million, at that point, then I started doing some targeting to get champions free. Because those extended fights, when you only have 2 turns to get your champions back, it starts getting rough. And I wanted to see how good this team actually could do. Still staying on full auto. We did select when champions were eaten so that we can get them free to see how much more damage we could do, so that I can see about some potential pushes into Nightmare when we get to that point. Now, obviously, a lot of things change once you get to Nightmare, and accuracy requirements, resistance requirements, and so on. But I wanted to see how far I could push that number. Because I liked the previous score, that it was getting very close to that damage, even though, again, everything changes as you go to the next higher level. But I was looking at some things, and one thing that I noticed is that my max HP was my worst enemy. And the biggest thing that I had to change was a blessing. Funny enough. So I've messed around with a couple of different blessings here. I've got a couple of Ugos. I like to switch gear around for these two specifically, so I can keep my accuracy close to the same. But I went with Commanding Presence on one, and then on the other one, I actually went with Havencraft or Havencast. So I could get a little bit more of that ignoring resistance, to make sure that I'm doing a little bit better on landing my debuffs with Ugo. Ugo was missing a couple, and I'm like, okay, what's a really good blessing that I can give Ugo? And I realized quickly yesterday during my Hydra run that there was something else that could be so much better for her, to not only help the entire team, but to help me get the scores that I'm looking to get. And it was actually right above it, a rare blessing. And yes, it is 1 star, but it makes a dramatic difference for a champion that provides a good amount of healing. And the reason why is that enemy, or that team's max HP was just getting too low. It was getting reduced down too low for me to be super consistent in keeping my champions alive. And the bigger problems that I was having was with my damage dealers. Obviously, I'm trying to pump out some damage, so getting Ugo to the point where she could help eliminate some of that max HP that was being wiped out on the whole team, has been key to like a 20 mil difference dramatically. And the reason why I say that is that's really a huge step that cannot be built into your gear, is removing the max HP reduction that's done to you by the enemy. So what you can build in is more accuracy, and that's basically what I did. It only took a little bit. I think I only changed the boots, and as you can tell, I got rare boots, but they made a huge difference when it came to getting a little bit more accuracy to get the job done on a 93% basis. So yeah, changing from a blessing that is going to help you land your debuffs more accurately, instead of using that, building more accuracy into your build, and going to something that's going to dramatically change a long fight where you have enemy max HP or your own champion's max HP being reduced. The amount of that HP being restored to a healer was super, super dramatic. So yeah, just be careful with the blessings that you're choosing, regardless of the champion that you're choosing for. The same can be said about legendaries. Choosing a legendary blessing. Let's see if we can go in here and find one. Changing a legendary blessing where you're increasing. Let's see, what's the best one here? Commanding presence and intimidating presence. So if you're going to use an aura, let's say an accuracy aura, because you want to make sure you're landing your debuffs, or you built just a little too low because you're going to have that accuracy boost. Some of the better accuracy auras out there are only between 70 and 100. If you have a 1-star blessing, you're only increasing 2.5%. That's very, very minimal that you're looking at when you go to using something like that on a champion, where if you have a healer, go with the Miracle Heal depending on your team setup. You can always go with Brimstone, which is going to just destroy your score to an unsurmountable difference compared to not using that at all. If you don't have a team that has that, but you're running a legendary with a blessing, highly consider changing that blessing, at least just for Hydra. Spend the gems to get that in there. If not one champion, run two. I've got 2 champions that I run for. Yeah, this one right here. I took a little bit of a lower score because I ran last minute, tried to get my advanced quest done. But having 2 brimstones, it makes just a dramatic difference. Now again, I was running kind of late on this one, and just threw a shot at it and let it run, and went ahead and accepted it. Didn't get max chest, but I could have played around with this one a little bit more and done a little bit better for sure. But yeah, hopefully that's a tip to help everybody out. And let me know your comments, your thoughts in the comments below. And until next time, peace.